What's up guys, Eagle here from ProNDC. Welcome to another ESO build video. So today I have the Magicka Sorcerer PVE non-pet force pulse build for the Clockwork City update. Yeah, that's kind of a very long name. Let's call it the old school build. So why would you call it the old school build? It's pretty simple. This, as you can see from the bar setup, this build kind of looks like a build from one Tamriel. Back then when pets, like before the pets got the buff and then again nerfed, Magicka Sorcerers had around like exactly this bar setup usually. Of course some things have changed a little bit since then, and I really like the playstyle. This is great, not just in trials but also in dungeons, and I get some decent values. It's comparable to what people can do with pets, but I don't have pets, and I don't have any like issues with sustain. I can use the new Asylum Sanctorium destruction staff and it's working really well. So anyway, let's actually get right into it. There's some things here. Maybe this build view might be a little bit longer. There's some stuff that's kind of like unique to this playstyle or build that I have to explain a little bit further. So as you can see, I'm a high elf. I think high elf is the best race here. I have 64 points into Magicka. High elf gives you 10% more max Magicka, 9% more Magicka recovery, and 4% more elemental damage, which is, of course, nice. So this fits perfectly with this play style. We currently have the Apprentice Stone, giving us more spell damage, and we have max Magicka, max health food. However, I will get to that into a little bit more detail when I talk about champion points, but you might want to switch to the lover in certain scenarios. However, like right now, I think the apprentice is fine. So these are my values. I'm sitting at 53% spell crit chance, which is kind of nice. 2.5k spell damage. On the back bar, we have a little bit more, around like 2.77k or 2.78k. Unbuffed crit chance here, of course. Completely buffed. With the potion, we're sitting at 3k. If you block the glyph, we're at 3.6k. And on the back, 3.8k. Which is actually kind of a mistake. So it's 3.75k on the back bar buffed. So much for stats. Let's get into gear. So, for the Magicka Sorcerer, there's no other set that's better than Elambris. Elambris will gives you more damage because it gives you Magicka, and then you have two meteor showers that have a separate cooldown. So like if you deal fire damage, you can proc the flame meteor shower, and if you do lightning damage, you can proc the lightning meteor shower, and they don't share the cooldown, so you can deal a lot of DPS with this set. And ranged, which is nice. Don't try stuff out like Vulcan Scoria. I tried it. Trust me, I tried it. I tried to run with Narineth and Scoria, and the results were pretty meh. I like, they weren't bad, but they couldn't just like really compare to Elambris. And you have higher Magicka pool, and hence less issues with sustain. So yeah, Elambris is the way to go, honestly. As I said, this is basically the easiest solution. We have Julianos. So Julianos is a craftable set. You can also buy it at the vendor. You get spell crit, Magicka, spell crit, and spell damage. Basically, there's no other set that gives you such a good package. There are, of course, options that you have. I didn't try them out properly. Like this one, I didn't try it out because, like in Morrowind, I tried it and I was kind of disappointed. Net's Touch. It gives you spell crit, Magicka, spell damage, and 4 spell damage to your shock damage abilities. You might think like, hey, that's actually pretty good. We deal a lot of shock damage. Well, actually, yes and no. We have two abilities, Crystal Fragments. This is magic damage. And then we have Haunting Curse, which is also magic damage. And we don't use, like we have Fiery Rage here. This is flame damage, and this is also flame damage. So you want to use Net's Touch if you use double lightning maybe, and then I don't know, like I tried it out, and even back then, like with crystal fragments being magic damage, like they didn't get buffed. It was kind of an issue, and then I also dropped some spell crit chance, so I kind of don't want to go with Net's Touch. There is, however, another set that you could run. You could replace the Shock Glyph here on the front bar with the Flame Glyph, and that's Burning Spellweave. Yes, Burning Spellweave is working. Trust me, it's working. I forgot to save a parse. I already did tests with an infused Inferno on the front bar with the Flame Glyph. And I think, no, even like an infused Lightning Staff on the front bar with the Flame Glyph. And Burning Spellweave uptime was between 55 to 58%. So that's actually pretty okay. And if you use an Inferno Staff on the back bar in a trial, you have multiple targets that can get hit by that staff, you will get a really good uptime. Because if you apply the burning status effect to your opponent, this, if the cooldown is over, this can proc. That's actually pretty nice. However, Burning Spellweave, you might want to run this more like in dungeons. Like in dungeons, this is maybe a little bit more useful. For trials, I'd honestly, like if you need to rest people and stuff like that, I'd honestly go with the safer approach, which is Julianos. So Julianos is overall the best solution, and it's craftable, it's the easiest to get. Then as a jury set, we were Infallible Ether. So Infallible Ether is actually easy to get. Even the gold jury, you just have to complete a veteran trial in Cracklorn. So Ethereal Archive, Helra, or Sanctum Ophidia. If you just complete it on vet difficulty, you have the chance to get jewelry pieces in gold, and you can trade it with your teammates. So, like if you tell your team, like, hey, I need this jewelry, these jewelry pieces, can you give them to me? They can trade to you. We have, of course, all spell damage, and we wear this because it gives us more spell crit. So, I have a really good spell crit rating for this patch, actually. And that's really, really nice. And we also get Minor Slayer. If you don't have Infallible either, you could, of course, go with, do we have it here? Moon Dancer. So Moon Dancer is also an option. Yeah, I have cost reduction here. I don't know why, actually. Gives you Magicka instead of Spell Crit. And you can just wear 3 pieces of this. What you could also wear is Master Architect. It's the exact same as Moon Dancer for this 2-piece and 3-piece bonus. Another option that you have is Willpower. Willpower gives you Magicka and spell damage, and this is the easiest to get because you can just buy it at the guild vendors. There's so many willpower sets. You need to earn trophies, either in the dungeons, I think, of White Gold Tower and Imperial City Prison, or go to the Imperial City PvP, collect the trophies there, and just go to the chamber where you can get willpower stuff. Like I said, it's actually like really, really easy to get, and you can just put all spell damage in there. So you have around like 46k Magicka and a little bit more spell damage if you go with willpower. So it's working. It's actually really nice. That's the option you have if you don't have access to trial sets. So the next thing is a little bit harder to get. This is the Perfect Asylum Lightning Staff. What does it do? So every second time you use Force Pulse, within 10 seconds, you apply all status effects to your enemy. It's shown to you. Again, you see the minor maim. I put the burning status effect on the blacklist because it was a little bit annoying because it always showed up in my debuff section. You can see all the time minor maim and vulnerability at the same time every second time I use it. And you just saw like Elambrus, flame and lightning proccing at the same time. Then my food went out. I don't have any more food here, unfortunately. Anyway, doesn't matter. So this is really great stuff. It's infused. I retraded it, and I have a shock damage glyph here. As I said, for burning spell, if you can use a flame damage glyph here. I was lucky to get it. You can get it from the weekly rewards. I'm not sure. This is actually has to be buggy, a little bit buggy. If you are in the weekly leaderboards, you can get them. It doesn't matter what trial it is. For some reason, we have Exilum Centurium 2 weeks in a row here. But I heard from the North America server that they had I think Halra or so last week, or Sanctum. And they also got Asylum weapons from the weekly rewards. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be that way. I don't think so. So maybe you need to wait until Asylum Sanctorium is weekly. But you should be able to get it from the weekly rewards pretty easily. And I'm pretty sure that I also, like for console, for the first few weeks, you will have that bug. So I recommend to get all your characters onto the weekly leaderboards with your guild, and then you will get a perfected weapon, like with a high probability, of course. I got like 6 of my characters into the weeklies last week and 4 this week, so I'm waiting for the new weekly rewards. And yeah. So the other way to get this weapon is to complete the hard mode, or like the super hard mode, which is the main boss with the 2 mini bosses at the same time. Only 2 guilds have done that by now, so kind of hard. Yeah, not that easy to get. You can use the non-perfected version, of course. You need 3 force pulses to apply that status effect all the time. You will feel a difference to a certain extent. It's not that the staff is like completely useless, but you might be better off if you like run an infallible the lightning staff, because you get extra spell damage, which applies to everything on your front bar, instead of getting that status effects all the time. The reason why this is actually stronger is because you apply burning all the time, and you apply maim all the time, and minor vulnerability, so you get better debuff uptimes, and it's better for your group overall. You might get around the same damage if you get an infallible either lightning staff on the front bar or an inferno staff. Of course, the same goes for Moon Dancer or Master Architect if you have 4 pieces here. If you like on the back bar, we use a Maelstrom Inferno Staff in Nirnhound. Nirnhound is the best trait. You can, of course, like I said, use double lightning. Let's actually lock this one. Double lightning. I tried it out. Nirnhound on the back bar outperforms Infused for this setup here. The reason is pretty simple. As you can see from the DPS test that I showed, or I'll put here, my weapon damage enchantment here is at 55%, even though I have an infused staff. Let's see. This one was with drain from a healer, so I didn't do this all by myself. As you can see, this was with my Nirnhound weapon. This is my Blockade of Flames. 51% uptime on the weapon damage enchantment. So the enchantment uptime isn't that much lower. You can get to like around like 65-66% with the infused staff, of course, but that's like a 10-15% difference. But the maximum damage that you get on this stuff here, 3.7k, is around like 110 higher than with the infused staff. 3.6k. So 110, 120 lower with the infused staff. So why is that important? Like, yeah, you have less spell damage with the infused staff, and like around the same uptime on the glyph. So the average spell damage on this bar is higher with the Nirnhound staff. So during execute, I will just play like this all the time. I won't switch to my front bar at all. I will just like refresh the dots here and keep executing the whole time. So for this specific build here, Nirnhound is better. If you run a pet build, or have your execute on the front bar for whatever reason, infused will perform better, because you will take the infused glyph, this one here, 452 spell damage, to the other bar. However, as long as I just stay on this bar, Nirnhound is stronger. So if you don't run with an execute because you want to drop it for something else, or if you have it on the front bar and put the curse on the back bar, infuse will be better. If you have the same bar setup as me, Nirnhound will be better. It's pretty much it for gear. Like if you don't have any of these weapons, try to farm them. Farming them will take a while, but it's worth it. It will boost your DPS by quite a bit. You can also go with like 4 pieces of Infel or Moondancer on the body, or like the 3 Julie pieces and 1 on the body, and just go with Juliano staves and the same traits and the same enchantments, of course. But it's up to you. Let's get into skills. So skills, pretty standard setup. We use Force Pulse to proc the Staff's Glyph, which is nice. This is main spammable ability. We use Crystal Fragments to get Dark Magic to get Exploitation. Casting a Dark Magic ability grants Minor Prophecy, 3% more crit chance. We cast this one when they proc. Haunting Curse. Basically, we have it on the front bar to get a higher uptime on the curse. So basically, whenever it runs out, we try to reapply it. This is better in this setup from what I've experienced than like only casting it every second rotation, because it will have a relatively big downtime and thus giving you less DPS. And on top of that, like when you're on the back bar and it explodes here, you get more damage from the skill because it's a single target skill. Then we have Inner Light, Bound Aegis, and then Shooting Star. Gives us 2% more max Magicka, and we usually use this in boss fights. Then we have Fire Rage on the back bar, or Shield Empowered Board. Use this morph. It's smaller, a smaller shield, but it gives us minor intellect, increasing our Magicka recovery for 10 seconds. And of course, the recovery of our allies. Bound Aegis because it's a toggle ability we need on both bars for the extra max Magicka. Then we have Endless Fury. You might wonder, why is he running that morph? You can run the other morph, of course, but especially for dungeons, this will help with sustain. If an enemy is killed by this ability, restore 4.4k Magicka. Well, it restores around the same amount of Magicka of 1 heavy attack. And yeah, the other morph deals a little bit more splash damage, basically, but this here helps you with sustain, and it's just great. If you run dungeons a lot, or if you want to run like Maelstrom Arena, you want this morph. It's just better. And if I cannot sustain, my DPS will go down anyway, so I chose to run this morph like even in trials. Then we have Liquid Lightning, AoE dot, and then Blockade of Fire, AoE dot, and that's pretty much it. If you run dungeons and you need some extra healing, you can replace the Inner Light with Power Surge. You could also use Lightning Form if you want to, like, it's up to you. Yeah, Boundless Storm if you want to. I personally don't need it. I just replace Inner Light with Power Surge for dungeons if I need some extra healing, if the dungeon is hard. So much for skills. Let's get into champion points. So I have 34 into Warlord, 37 into Arcanist, 75 into Tenacity, 14 into Shadowboard, and 44 into Tumbling. Should actually switch it, to be honest, but yeah. For the red tree, we have 61 Ironclad currently, 12 into Spell Shield, 49 Hardy, 49 Elo Defender, 14 Thick Skinned, and 19 into Quick Recovery. Then we currently have 40 Elfborn, 37 into Elemental Expert, and 44 into Spell Erosion, with 28 into Master at Arms and 81 into Thaumaturge. Well, we have a lot of points into Spell Erosion. If you need to find out if your group runs Alkosh and if they have Infused Crusher enchantments. If they don't have Alkosh, only put 14 points here. Go with the Lovermunda Stone and distribute the points to the other trees. 28, you keep the 81 and the 28 points, but you will boost Elo Expert to 49. No, sorry. 13 and 31. That's so correct. You put 56 into Elfborn, 49 Elemental Expert, 13 into Spell Erosion, 31 Mastered Arms, 81 to Thaumaturge, and then you take the Lover. I'm sorry, I just had to think because I didn't write it down. This is the CP setup if you use the Lover. If you don't use the Lover, go this CP setup. That gave me the best results, and it's working pretty nicely. So that's pretty much it for champion points. Let's talk about rotation. As I said, the video is gonna be a little bit longer. I don't have food right now. I will put in a DPS test, the 41k DPS test, self-buffed. I will put it in here. The rotation is actually pretty simple. On the start of a fight, I usually start with Destro ult, and because I have an Inferno Staff on the back bar, I can use a fully charged heavy attack into my Liquid Lightning, and then I light attack, like heavy attack, into my Liquid Lightning, light attack Blockade, into a bar swap, and then I light attack Curse right away, and then when my Crystal Fragment procs, I use it. If it doesn't, I use light attack Force Pulse until a fragment procs. And when my Liquid Lightning hits 2 seconds, I cast my last ability, either a fragment, a Force Pulse, or a Curse. If there's no curse up, into a bar swap, and then I cast again my Liquid Lightning and then my Blockade. So it pretty much looks like this. I use my ultimate, potion, heavy attack, bar swap here, no frag procs, and it hits 2 seconds, so I bar swap the last ability. Oh, finally a fragment proc. Okay, 2 seconds again, so I bar swap again, and so forth. It's pretty simple. However, once my resources drop around 40%, what I then do, of course, like here, I just do heavy attacks into abilities, and I can do up to 2 heavy attacks on the front bar without my dots running out. When my curse is up, I just do a heavy attack and a Force Pulse. When I have a frag proc, I do it like this. And you can see my dots don't run out, and I can still get back my resources that way. It's that simple. If your resources, and in the trial you will have more resources because your healers will bear Warm Cold, you will get orbs and shards and stuff like that, you will have less issues with sustain. You can do more light attack and Force Pulses, of course, and still, like, even if you do 2 heavy attacks, 1 actually should be enough in a trial. Even if you do 2 heavy attacks, you can always do heavy attack, Force Pulse, heavy attack, Force Pulse, and you will still proc the new staff's set bonus, which is nice. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the build. As said, it's gonna be a little bit longer because I have had some additional things to explain here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions regarding this build, feel free to ask it in the comment section down below. And I hope you also tune in next time. I will work on a pet build in the next couple days and try to figure it out. So far, I really like the non-pet playstyle, and it's getting me very, very good results in trials and of course on the target skeleton. And it's a lot of fun in dungeons too, and I can easily keep up with our pet Starks in the dungeons. So yeah, it's kind of nice. Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button, and if you don't want to miss any more ESO content, hit that sub button. Would be really nice. And I hope you tune in next time too. So until then, bye bye.